Hey guys, haven't made a video in a while. I actually have been working a lot. I've been working like 50 something hours a week, which is like 10-hour days, and then I do like a few hours on Saturday. And I work afternoons, so I get out of there like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and then to work Saturday I got to be back in there at like 6. So I kind of end up like sleeping Saturdays away and all that. But I have been working on this thing a little bit here and there, but not as much as I'd like to. One thing nice about working like big hours is I can actually buy some stuff. Things going on with this. Remember the broke off, welded back on, and severely bent steering stem? Well, I got on eBay, and there was a guy, everybody wanted like $50 to $80 for ones. So it looked, you had a picture and looked really nice, and then there was a guy on there that had one without a picture, which is probably a bad thing to do, but he didn't have a picture of it, and he said it was in good shape, or in, good to use and all that. Well, I got me another one that's welded on. So it must be like a bad thing with these, that these stems break off. And I kind of did something similar to this before, where I welded on, let's see if I can hold this one. I made a steering stem, and basically like how this is welded, I just made a plate like this and welded the stem directly to it, and you couldn't keep it on it because it didn't have anything like this to stabilize it. I ended up getting some giant nuts and like welding onto each side to make it stable. But the problem with welding it right here, well, this one's like crooked too, so not terrible crooked, but I don't know if you can see it in the picture here or not. But the bad thing about this is it makes it so that the only surface area, that it's holding this is 2 pieces butted together and welded. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and use this, but not like this. I'm going to cut it off, and then I'll make a solid piece that goes inside of both of these, so that they're going like 2 inches on this side of it and 2 inches on the maybe clip to the end of it, and then weld it. Maybe even go as far as to drill a couple holes to weld into it, to make it stronger. But I'm not going to buy another one of these. This one here, I had like $30 in it, which isn't a whole lot, but if I go and add it to buying another one that's in good shape, then I'm looking at like having $80 to $100 in a stinking steering stem and buying 2 of them. So I think I might just try to fix this one and make it stronger than what it is right now. So here's with that, and then the arms, I got them all painted up pretty good. It's kind of hard to see color. I'll take one outside. But I ended up actually replacing everything for the right side. I didn't really notice it when I was making the first video of kind of like the overall inspection of this thing, but the upper arm was pretty well trashed too. So I had to get both for that side. But it's the same paint that I'm putting on like the arms or like that rear swing arm for the 300 EX like side project. I really like this paint. It's like this Duplicolor, and it kind of really looks like stock Honda, like on like the 07, 8, 300EX. Instead of the like gunmetal gray, they kind of went to like a lighter silver, and it's alright for spray balm, I guess. Oh, and then this side has the joints in these. Somebody must have just replaced them, but they have like the aftermarket needle bearings. So they're in really good shape, so I don't have to do anything with that. One thing that's going to be kind of bad about it is I got one arm with the factory like heme joints, 2 arms with aftermarket ball bearing or needle bearings, and then I got one with nylon inserts. So kind of got a little bit of everything. And then I bought some new shocks for the front. They're exactly the same length as the stock ones. Probably not very good, but pretty much like these bikes, like this right here, I looked it up. lt230 was the first sport quad. There was, you know, like the TRX 200s and stuff like that was a quad, but it wasn't a sport quad. Now, this bike, like most quads nowadays, this top frame would be 2 beams going up through here instead of just 1. Basically, what I'm thinking what they did with this is, this was actually a 3-wheeler. And, you know, basically they took a 3-wheeler frame and retrofitted it to be a quad. That's just my guess. You know, given it has a single, you know, basically if you used to take this stuff off here, the whole front end off of this, you'd be looking at a 3-wheeler, you know. So with the suspension, going back to the suspension, is these bikes, and another thing too is a lot of the older 4-wheelers in the mid-80s didn't have suspension whatsoever. So when they first came out with suspension, you know, it was a great little, you know, great feature for then, but at the same time, it wasn't the best. You know, it didn't have a whole lot of travel. Basically just springs on tubes, you know. The back one seems to be pretty good, but even like you look at like the 300EXs, they come with 13-inch shocks on the front. They do have some dampening. It's not bad. Most people always convert them over to like a 400EX shock, or, you know, get like shock positioning, you know, repositioned so they can put a better shock on it. And you're not really, it's not really to really gain a whole lot of travel with it. You just to try to get a better shock. You know, be able to jump it and not bounce off the ground and throw you off of it. So the cheap shocks that I bought, probably the stock ones, or, you know, definitely was probably better than what them things are. They're pretty cheap, but this thing's probably not going to be much of a jumper, you know, given the suspension it has anyhow. And then widening it out, you're putting more leverage on things. It probably just wouldn't be a good idea to really jump it anyway. More than likely, my girls will, you know, when they get a little older, will be the ones that really ride this thing, and they'll just be running around the yard. This engine, I've been starting to get that in there. Currently have the bottom mounts, I don't know if you can see them, kind of tacked in. Right now I'm just working on probably taking the engine back out, give the motor mounts a going over with real good welding and clean them up and make sure I don't have missed areas. Or I use a little stick welder for these. This thing works perfect for weld on these frames. It doesn't burn through, but it gets enough penetration to, you know, weld it. Basically, it's works, you know, as close to probably the stock welds that they had. Probably use some kind of wire feed on them, but the only thing bad about the stick welder is it's dirty, and, you know, with the flux, and you kind of got to hold your rod in a certain position to be able to, like, get the flux to beat up above the weld, which is kind of hard to do when you're working in down little areas like that. Basically, you're lucky to be able to get the rod in there, let alone have it, you know, aiming the right direction for it to flow properly. So it's kind of hard to, you know, I've watched a guy on, he's kind of younger, maybe 20-ish or something, just out of high school. Can't remember the name of him any. But I know a couple of my viewers watch or subscribe to his channel, but it's a younger guy from Ohio. It's a welder. Has a lot of welding videos, And I'm not a, by far a professional welder. I'm not. I think I do a pretty good job. I welded like the hitch on the back, made my own hitch for the back of my car and stuff like that. But a lot of his how-tos, and he does build some like frames for like trailers and stuff. But the only problem is it's not welding like this, where you have a bunch of obstacles in the way. By far, I'm not criticizing him at all. I mean, he's a great super welder, and I actually watch his stuff to kind of get, learn how to weld, do some, learn new things about it. I've been welding some things for quite a few years, but he kind of gave, some new ideas on different rods and things like that. But, you watch those videos, okay, yeah, I got to have this kind of angle and stuff when I'm welding and all that, and you get into somewhere like this, and it's like almost impossible to get exactly what you want. Probably the best thing would be like a MIG welder for this, but I don't have one, and I really don't like the idea of a MIG welder just for the fact that it's more materials. Like like I can just go to Harbor Freight and grab me a pack of rods, and I can weld away. Whereas with the MIG, you got the gas and stuff you got to constantly fill up. I actually had two welders. I got that one, and I got one in like big red. I can't remember the name of it, but it's the top of it's kind of shaped like a stop sign. It's red, and it's 225 amp, I think. And I really don't use it that much, except for like welding some really heavy steel, like to make a hitch or something like that. But it's not really any good for, even when you turn it down it's really low, it just seems too ballsy to weld the stuff that these things are made out of. But I got a kind of a YouTube buddy, Harvey, and most of the people that watch my videos watch his. Made a comment on his last couple of videos about people watching stuff to the end. Yeah, it's kind of giving me a bad rap. I guess maybe my videos might be a little boring or something, or maybe I just don't have enough conversation. So I'm trying to, with this video, I'm trying to get in and break in a little bit of conversation. Mostly, I'm not into like the YouTube thing for like, some people are on there just to make money. I'm not even interested in being like a YouTube partner. I kind of find it annoying with the ads. So maybe, I don't know if I have ads on my videos. I know I never agreed to anything like that, but more than anything, I kind of like trying to find some friends on there. Who knows, maybe I might find somebody that watches my videos that, lives like a county away or something. But a lot of guys at work, I talk a lot about, this kind of stuff at work to them, and they're not interested at all. So, I'm kind of annoying with it to them, I guess. So, kind of on here just to find some friends, and heck, if I only have 6 viewers, I'm kind of more than happier, because then you don't get a bunch of critics. But alright, well, it's kind of getting to be a long video. Thanks for watching and subscribing and stuff, and watching my videos to the end would be cool too. So, well, see you later.